the here we are in the original lobby of the theater. Of course, it was built in 1913, and the lobby over on this side had at one point concession space, and behind us over here was the original box office. Now we have decided to expand the lobby space here and cut through the walls and leaving some of the original walls on either side to denote the original construction of the facility. And we'll be breaking through into the Richardson building next to us and expand the lobby into 2 additional storefronts in that area there. The Richardson building will house restrooms, box office, storage space. Above on the cove area, this all the decorative plaster up there gets gold leafed with the little rosettes will all have been electrified and will once again accept light bulbs. All the plaster, as I said, will be gold leafed up there, and then the flat part of the ceiling is an antique ivory color. I think we have some colors that we can look at afterwards when we go out. Inside the theater, obviously a tremendous amount of scaffolding, and it's been set up this way since March or so when we really started construction. And at this point, we are replastering the ceiling. So some of it had been water damaged, and some of it was just suffering from age. And so it was safer to take it down and then to put it up again. So we have Queen City plasterers out of the Burlington area have been replastering. They've finished with the main ceiling and are now working under the balcony area. I think if you can look back over your shoulder here, you'll see where the rock lath has been installed, and then we're putting 2 coats of plaster over that. We've also rewired all the electrical fixtures here and sprinkled as well for current fire code. Let's see. In March, I guess, sometime in March, we constructed this wall in the proscenium opening to protect the inside of the theater from some of the demolition that was happening out on stage. As we may have said before, the stage collapsed, or part of it collapsed in the 60s, and it was roofed over at 32 feet. And we've decided to go back to the original height of 64 feet to accommodate a variety of needs typical of any theater of this size. And when we go out on the stage area, here we are on the original stage. We kept our stage depth the same. It's 35 feet, and it certainly is adequate and very typical, actually, of an old opera house. But we did decide to expand the stage another 9 feet to the left to give us a little more wing space and accommodate performers in their offstage areas a little bit better. And we really go out at about 45 feet on our stage right here. Part of that will accommodate some offstage storage space as well as load-in materials. We have a large load-in door there. Trucks, buses, whatever can back down into the area and then offload directly onto the stage. As you may have just seen, then we're up at our grid here, which is going to accommodate all of our fly equipment, allowing us to fly scenic elements, masking, and on our lighting systems is at 52 feet. And then we have another 9 feet or so above that for equipment and that sort of thing. We had to replace some of the beams in the floor that were rotted out at one point. And that's been done very nicely. The stage floor will be sanded down, and then we're covering it over with a product that would allow us then, on those getting damaged, just to remove a 4x8 section of it and replace it, so that it's a fairly low maintenance item, and it provides us with a very good and flexible, resilient kind of a floor. Over here, as we go up this wall, we'll see two kind of gridiron platforms. Those will be filled in, and those will allow for the operation of the counterweight system. We decided to have them off the stage floor to give us a little bit more and make better use of the wing space over here. So that first one has about 26 feet, Michael, and that's where the counterweights actually get operated from, and then the one way up there is where the counterweights get loaded on to the arbors. That's where our professional crew kind of working that stuff. Why don't we take a walk over here? Watch your foot. The corrugated decking, then concrete goes on that to provide the floors. Over in this area, here will be a hallway and women's restroom on this level. The level above us will be in the future both men's and women's restroom for the balcony patrons. But take a walk downstairs. Watch your foot there. That lip on the end of it. This is the base, the pit for the elevator then. And as I said before, it's a two-stop elevator. This area over here is some of our dressing rooms being framed in. And in the far corners over there are some of our mechanical. That's where our electric comes into the building. We have mechanical for the elevator, and then we have some storage space for theater supplies and lighting instrumentation and that sort of thing over there. Behind me here is below the stage level, and that will be two large core-style dressing rooms in that area there. They'll each about 26 by 26. We also have some sprinkler room in there, and there's some additional mechanical space in there as well. In this area, this will be the green room area. We frame in a little bit behind us here on the steel structure, put a countertop in there. We have some plumbing in there for a small sink, and then some outlets for a microwave, coffee maker, and that sort of thing. And it's primarily an area where performers can rest prior to going on stage or during the show if they don't happen to be needed in the stage area. It's a very nice, large space, and it should be nice and comfortable for people. It stays nice and cool as you can feel. Beyond here, we cut through the foundation there, ramp up into those additional areas over there, and they provide us with some wardrobe space and additional dressing spaces for very large cast productions. you on? I can stand. You can just do a voice if you want. This is the soundboard that is just in front of the stage area, sort of over the orchestra pit, part of the audience area. And it was fairly heavily damaged, with a fair amount of the original decorative roping destroyed from water and time, really. So it's all been recast on site and then taken to a studio near the Albany area. And our molds were made here and then cast there in the studio in Albany, and then brought in 4-foot sections and reapplied to the ceiling. Prior to that application, again, Queen City came in and replastered the entire soundboard and 2 coats of plaster, and now they're doing some finishing touches here. And Phil Holbrook behind us from Architectural Conservation in the Albany area has been doing the decorative or ornamental plaster work, and just finished this cartouche here. And that was actually cast on site, where he took the mold off the cartouche behind us, and then really through a 3 or 4 day process and several steps with latex and that sort of thing, created a mold, cast it, and then applied it to the partially damaged cartouche that's there, and was able to blend it in incredibly well. Michael, the holes that you can see in the decorative plaster here behind us, I don't know if you can get that shot there, are electrical, where light fixtures screw into that, and those will all be wired and fully restored as well. You want to go up? This plaster now this whole ceiling's been redone, 2 coats of plaster on it, and it's sanded, and it's now actually been primed. We're getting ready to start the painting up in here. And Larry Boudry Boudry Painting is handling all that. It's a very complicated paint scheme. We had an exhaustive paint analysis, about 100 different chips of paint throughout the theater, to determine the exact original colors. And we have arrived at that palette, and we'll begin painting up here and working our way down. The dome behind me here is actually in very good shape. It's been repaired and resecured, and that's awaiting its painting and gold leafing. All the decorative plaster, again, on the inside of the theater here, as well as the lobby area, is gold leaf. The walls that we can see are a little bit bare now with some structural elements exposed and wire and whatnot. That gets covered over with a rose damask fabric. And we have a very nice contribution from a firm in Manhattan. They were able to reproduce the exact pattern and color that was here in 1913 when the theater was built. Maybe we can take a walk over here. Light can pick up anything in here or not. But so this is the inside of the dome, which was primarily a ventilation dome when the theater was first built, and a large fan in the ceiling exhausted all the warm air from the theater out through the roof. We will be using this to some degree in a similar fashion, although our heating and ventilation system is much more sophisticated. The electrical fixtures here in the dome have been restored and will be replaced, and these will hold once again small light bulbs, dimmable through modern technology, and should really paint the theater with a wonderful, wonderful warm glow of light. I think that's about it. Now we've put a couple of theatrical lighting positions in the ceiling that weren't there originally, and this will allow us to provide light from the front of the house onto the stage area itself. The attic has been redone. It's been sprinkled and fireproofed. Of course, the whole project is code safety. We're working with a variety of organizations to make sure that everything we're doing is in compliance, as one would expect. We are currently right on schedule from a construction point of view for our grand opening on the 15th of January 2000. We still continue to fundraise. We are very close to our final goal. We really need another $400,000 or $500,000, however, to finish the whole project off as it's been envisioned. And I think that's about it. the fabric that was originally on the wall, we were able to have that reproduced exactly from a pattern point of view and color. And this went all in the theater above the chair rail. So it was a fair amount of fabric. And the color, the base color, really was an antique ivory with some of the pinks that were actually reflected in here in the fabric. The inside of the dome we saw a moment ago was pink. Some of these darker, more salmon-y colored pinks as well, with green carpet, and then here's a little sample of the gold leaf, sort of on the antique ivory base, and a very delicate palette, very soft, a lot softer than we originally thought. We were thinking more of the heavy maroon colors that we see in there at the moment, and again, our paint analysis indicated that this was the original palette, and it really is quite lovely. Pretty excited about going back to that.
All that by hand, huh?
Yes. Yeah, that gold leafing is done with little 4-inch squares. It's brushed off on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the whole thing. Very nice. Now you're auditioning for. Now, have you done anything late?
No, I could do something.
But you did. But sort of recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you did. Oh, what'd you do?
I'll memorize like a whole.
I don't know yet. We don't know yet. Because January 15th looks like our opening date, but something came up, and so we are planning. We are going to do it. We might have